Tonight, the Washington Post published a long article which includes claims from at least 15 women that while they worked for the Washington NFL team, they faced sexual harassment and verbal abuse regularly. The allegations are from 2006 to 2019. The women accused 5 front office members, including Alex Santos, front office player personnel director Richard Mann II, who's the assistant director of pro personnel, and Larry Michael, the longtime radio voice of the Redskins. All 3 men have either stepped down or been fired in the last week. Just today, ABC7 confirmed that the Washington football team is a new lawyer. D.C. attorney Beth Wilkinson, brought on board by Daniel Snyder. 7 on Your Side reached out to Wilkinson's office, and she told us, "We can confirm that our firm was retained by the team to do an independent review of the team's culture, policies, and allegations of workplace misconduct." Over the last several years, Wilkinson took part in notable cases involving Hillary Clinton, Brett Kavanaugh, and Michael Flynn. It's also been reported that 3 minority shareholders are trying to sell their interests in the Washington football team. Reportedly, they have hired the investment bank Mogan Company in Baltimore to vet buyers. Now I want to bring in my teammate Olivia Garvey tonight. Olivia, really kind of a difficult night, a lot of different emotions right now. We've been working several different angles to this story all day long, and the head coach of the Washington Pro football team had something to say.
He absolutely did. Yeah, Scott, we reached out to the Redskins, and they sent us this statement from Coach Ron Rivera. Biggest thing is that we have to move forward from this and make sure everybody understands we have policies that we will follow and that we have an open door policy with no retribution. Plus, my daughter works for the team, and I sure as hell am not going to allow any of this. Dan Snyder brought me here to change culture and create an environment of inclusion among employees. I believe everyone that works for this franchise has a vested interest in our success.
Doc, Scott Abraham here. You probably knew a lot of those men that were accused in this report. Larry Michael, I'm sure. Alex Santos, surprised. I mean, I'm sure you may have even called some of those guys friends, or still call them friends.
I know them all intimately, and I was taken back by it because it didn't measure up with from what I know of those guys. It wasn't in their character.
Doc, I just have a quick. When you were playing, did you ever see any of this along the lines of employees or teammates or anything along those lines when you were playing? Anything to this extent?
No, I mean, again, the way our football facility was, I don't think there was a female in our building under 60. And it was never even, I mean, it is really a volatile environment, really, especially when you bring young ladies out of college. It's their first job experience. That is very difficult for any person in their first experience to work in an aggressive environment. And especially, as they mentioned, there seemed to be a lack of HR involvement or people or someone that they felt comfortable that they could relay whatever was going on with them, and it didn't seem like those support systems were intact.
Doc, I want to make this clear. In the report, there are no allegations against team owner Daniel Snyder. I reached out to the team today. He does not have a statement tonight. If you were Daniel Snyder, how do you proceed, and how do you go about kind of getting in front of this and rectifying this?
Well, I mean, a lot of the people involved are no longer there. Ron Rivera has done exactly what he said he was going to do. He's trying to create an environment and create a culture. And that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't. But you do have to have some corporate structure. And I think that's the one thing that could be missing. There are a lot of people doing a lot of jobs, and we don't really see an organizational structure that matches what corporate America is basically structured with.
Doc, moving forward with this, I mean, what do you expect to happen in the coming days? They had the name change. They're going on about that, but now this comes out. What happens next? How do you see this franchise moving forward?
Well, first of all, the fact that it doesn't seem like football is going to be something that we can count on happening. And so you're going to have time to work through this. And Ron Rivera's got a lot on his plate. He's moving as aggressively as possible. The question is, how much more is coming out? I mean, is this it? Was this the bombshell or not? Or is there more?
You know, sexual harassment, you never take something like this lightly. But in a sense, could this be maybe a good thing in a way that the Washington football team is maybe cleansing and getting rid of the bad apples and the exposure's there, and now it's time to move forward and kind of turn the page under Ron Rivera and truly a new era there in Ashburn?
Well, that would be a simple way to look at it. But if you look at what's going on with the manager, with the ownership, and there seems to be a little bit of three of the guys seem to be disgruntled, and you hear the backdrop about change, the possibilities, maybe somebody from the league office. It just seems like somebody's moving this organization in a direction that they may not be able to control their own destiny.
Would you say, I mean, this was your team. Well, you'll always be a part of the Washington football team. Would you put yourself in a category that you're embarrassed for them? Truly, truly embarrassed?
Oh, I'm embarrassed at the fact that we're not able to talk football, that we're dealing with things that, I mean, no one wants to feel endangered at work. Nobody deserves that. I've been, the only person in some situations on my job that looked like me. And I feel like that women in sports, and especially since Christine Brennan covered our team as the first female inside the locker room, those are tough times, and we have to grow. We got to grow up, and we have to respect everybody's right as humans.
I guess finally, Doc, there's a lot of fans out there that are really disheartened and like, oh boy, here we go again. Our Washington football team can never get it right. What's your message to them? Because I know there's a lot of fans out there that are just shaking their head like, why can't this franchise ever get it right? Or there's always some kind of bad, dark cloud hanging over Ashburn.
Well, you got Ron Rivera and company in. You do have a new outlook. You got a guy, he's not experimenting. He's not a novelty. He's won in this league. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's carried himself in a professional light. And those players that play for him, they play hard. He's old school. I think he's exactly what we need. We also need to have a season. But if we do in that, I'm confident that Ron Rivera is the answer.
All right, Doc, thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it as always.
My pleasure. Thank you.